I'm going to start this video off with a question. When you think of horror, give me the one Call of Duty Zombies game that you lean to. It can be any game from any time period, but just pick one. Alright, keep that in mind now that you have it, and I'm going to guess which mode that you are thinking of. Were you thinking of World at War? Well, if you do, don't be surprised, because often when discussing horror in any Call of Duty Zombies game, the key game that many swerve towards is World at War. And it is for exceptionally good reasons. I mean, some of the stuff in the game is truly terrifying and something I wish returned in some of these newer games. But the game that I want to talk about today is something I don't see or hear people talking about anywhere else, and that is the horror of Black Ops 2 Zombies. And no, I am not talking about falling off the buildings on Die Rise or missing the bus on transit, but some of the hidden story in this mode is genuinely terrifying and you wouldn't know because of its obscurity. So grab your snack, turn them lights low, and grab yourself a blanket, because this is gonna get pretty spooky. Horror in Black Ops 2 is somewhat hard to pinpoint, since obviously there is more than one story going on at once. In fact, there are 3 separate stories in separate maps, which can be kind of confusing, so I'm going to discuss the Victa storyline first and move to the others later, as I see the Victa storyline being a little bit more scary. The Victa story takes place after the missiles were launched from the moon, which of course is a continuation of what we did after the moon Easter egg. This post-apocalyptic setting with lava covering the ground with hordes of zombies is something that is genuinely horrifying. And what this story does that no other crew or game has done before is giving us the reaction of the civilians, simply the people that had to witness this horror unfold. We as the player often get caught up in the crazy lore of apothecans and mystical creatures, but what Black Ops 2 does so well is mixing in the reality of what it would be like in the actual world if this was an actual event. What is important to understand about the story up to this point is that Richtofen has control of the zombies after swapping souls with Samantha on Moon. And you might be wondering, why in the world is this even important? Why does this even matter? But I bring this up because back on Earth, there is a horrifying difference between some of the people. Some people decided that since food rations were getting low and they would eventually die of starvation, they would eat the zombie flesh to maintain their hunger. And with all the crazy people and the human will to just simply survive, this is extremely possible. But let me just say, you have to be a different type of hungry to eat this thing. But you know what? You do you. The people who did this formed a group that were known simply as the Flesh, and many people actually joined, one of them being Samuel Stuhlinger, which will be important later. And what is so important about this group is that they could actually hear the voice of Richtofen in their heads talking to them directly to help him gain control of the Earth. But of course, being just confused civilians, many of them just described him as voices in their head. Now, this really wouldn't be the biggest issue, because we could just stick these people into some like asylum or something and let them deal with Richtofen themselves, but Maxis is also talking to the people as well, and it causes the civilians to get extremely confused on what is going on, as there are multiple voices giving them completely different instructions. And as you can imagine, in this post-apocalyptic chaotic situation, it causes some people to go pretty crazy.
You think you're so smart, huh? You think you can manipulate everybody into doing what you want, but we know the truth. Your calculating works and your sniffer agents? You mean to destroy this planet and kill us all? We're not gonna help. No way, no how. So yeah, you keep talking. But no one's gonna hear you because we're destroying everything. Everything electronic, starting with this evil radio box thing.
As many radios as there are in Die Rise and Transit alone, I think this mysterious man that we still have no idea who the identity of is, by the name of Jackass Flats, describes this horror in a radio that is found on transit.
Hello. This is Jackass Flats calling any human community within broadcasting distance. We're located at standard map coordinates 37 degrees 07 north, 116 degrees 03 west. This is a warning to anyone contacted by a group of mysterious voices. Several of our party began to hear the voices, and their competing instructions and incompatible demands drove a wedge down the center of the camp. Half of the camp is carrying out the demands of only through electronics. This voice is a big, long, and its ultimate goal's unclear. The other voice cannot be heard by humans who have not been on the long madness this way lies. Neither of these instruction sets will understand. Those of us who have not chosen a side have been hunted by both sides, seeking to force us to assist them. Oh God, they found us! Oh! Get back!
All of the confusion leads multiple people into states of extreme delusion, and honestly, it is scarily accurate to how it would actually pan out in real life. Even throughout all of this chaos, the CDC is still trying to give instructions to the people and explaining how they think the virus is spreading, adding another complex layer of speaking to the humans that are still alive on Earth.
Attention all on this channel. This is George Barkley, former Assistant Director of the CDC facility in Druid Hills, Georgia. Prior to the destruction of our headquarters, our research found evidence that contaminants are now infecting the very air we breathe. As such, exposure of some sort appears inevitable for all survivors. Symptoms are variable, but most subjects display short-term memory loss, psychosis, delusion, and paranoia. Short-term memory loss has also been reported, but as of yet, I've been unable to confirm this. We advise all individuals to monitor their fellow survivors for signs of the above symptoms, paranoia in particular. Ask yourself, are those closest to you really who you think they are? Are they following their own secret agenda? Are they perhaps plotting against you? The dangers presented by such symptoms cannot be overstated. It was with deep sadness that I, myself, was forced to euthanize 14 members of my own team. My condolences to their families. I hope this message serves as a warning to all survivors. We must all do whatever it takes to ensure our future as a species. Thank you.
The fact that even the highest standing health organizations in the world don't even understand what is going on is a truly terrifying thought, and it causes people to rethink whether or not they can trust each other. The people rely so much on the voices from Victa and Maxis that whenever they don't hear from them, they get extremely afraid and lost. The radio I'm about to play is what inspired me to make this video in the first place. It clearly shows the terrifying state of this woman after being so utterly confused and brainwashed by the world and what happened.
If there's anyone out there, please respond. I desperately need help. Nobody's left me, and I'm alone. Frightened. Help! I tried to do it right, but the others, they wouldn't listen. This peace comes here. This peace comes there. I couldn't do it on my own. I need help. I don't know what to do. The German man stopped talking to me, and I don't know what to do.
Keep in mind, all of these radios can only be found in transit and die-rise, and after listening to every single one, it makes me wish that there were more in the later maps coming in the future, which of course was just buried for the Victa storyline, but there could have been other things too. Although the radios in this game are a major part of the horror, there are also some other key things that make it somewhat unsettling and scary. For instance, playing as Stuhlinger on Die Rise allows you to hear the horrifying groans of zombies that actually have the ability to talk to you since you ate the flesh. He lies. These two words said by a zombie perfectly traps the essence of the story. The confusion, brainwashing, and panic-stricken people that were once leading regular lives have all of a sudden been put into a world of pure nightmare. The two sets of instructions causes fighting and even more differences between the two groups that were described by Jackass Flats earlier, and some just cannot handle it. The maps are actually pretty scary too. I mean, just completely disregarding all story, there is some pretty horrifying elements. The fact that Transit has this worn robot driver directing you around the map can be pretty unsettling, even though he has some good jokes here and there. And although there are no radios in this map, the buried witches are also pretty terrifying in my opinion, with their screams being heard all throughout your experience through the witch's house. There are little key things that you might have missed on some maps. For instance, some zombies on Transit have what seems to be straitjackets, which implies that asylums for the insane were located nearby, which just furthers how much they wanted to use horror in the first couple of maps. If you guys have never done it before, I would highly encourage that you load up Transit and Die Rise someday and take a listen to all of the radios if you're feeling in that spooky mood, because genuinely there is some pretty terrifying things located in some of the radios that I didn't play in this video, and you need to go check it out for yourself. But that is all the main horror in the Victa storyline. But hold on, the video is not done yet. Mob of the Dead has a total of 1 radio. I'm not kidding, there is a singular radio, and it is about the warden, aka Stanley Ferguson. What this map does that the Victa story didn't is allowing the whole horror aspect of this game to be a mental challenge. And arguably, this is even more scary than being shown everything, because the human mind can come up with scarier things that could ever be shown on screen. The key horror aspect of this map is that the crew has been trapped in purgatory, and that evidence is very clear, with the loading screen for Mob being the scribbles of Weasel giving his next cycle self ideas of how to escape. Obviously, the mobsters have been locked on Alcatraz for a reason, and the sins that this crew has committed cannot go unnoticed, and they are forced to relive the same cycle over and over and over, and that is something I wish to never ever experience. The body bags literally everywhere on the map, and the blood is something I don't think we have ever seen in maps, even maps like Verrucht, and I mean some of this stuff is genuinely terrifying. Just look at the showers area of the map. It literally has tens of hundreds of body bags just hanging, and that is just a scary sight in itself. But although this map is scary, I think it honestly has a more somber mood to it compared to a terrifying one. Sure, the map is somewhat scary or whatever, but it does the somber atmosphere really well instead of the horror atmosphere, hence why I didn't really talk about it as much as Victa's. Moving on to Origins, it's not even scary, to be honest. The Panzer is truly terrifying when you meet him for the first time unexpectedly without a staff, but otherwise the map is more hard-headed and powerful. You feel like an absolute god on that map. There really isn't much going for it in terms of horror, and this is where I think horror was really lost in zombies. We really haven't seen any real horror ever since Origins, and of course that can be argued, but I just don't see it anymore like it used to be. There really isn't anything wrong with that, it's just unfortunate because zombies is supposed to be scary. I mean, it's zombies. The ending for horror in zombies was Origins, but it started the best times in zombies with a streak of Black Ops 3 following its release. So really having a very minimal horror in maps is not really a big deal, as we have seen from literally just Black Ops 3 alone. Horror in Black Ops 2 is a extremely underrated feature of the mode, and something I wish people would praise more about the Victa story mainly. The fact that we had never seen a genuine human reaction to a apocalypse situation was disappointing, but when we received some of these radios, I was genuinely pleased. But yeah, guys, that's it. You can turn your lights back on. You can stop being spooked. I don't even care if you were scary or not. You better have had that blanket. But anyways, if you guys don't really think this game is scary and you think you're really cool, then let me know in the comments. And if you do think this game is scary, let me know why. And with that said, I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.